Hey guys, so we're going to be doing the second part of compound inequalities. So we did compound inequalities with the word and. Now we're going to do with or. So we've got to think that way. We've got to think instead of peanut butter and jelly, I've got peanut butter and jelly on my sandwich. I can have peanut butter and jelly, or I can have ham and cheese. So it's one or the other, not one and the other at the same time. We will get into what that really looks like in a second, but I want to get started by going through and solving all of these because I don't want to waste time doing it later. So I'm going to pause my video and put up, and I'm going to have all of them solved for. Okay, so take 5 minutes for yourself, practice that because that's going to be on your test. Otherwise, just copy it when you see it, okay? Uno momento. All right, so they're solved for. As we go through the video, you'll see them solved for, but we're going to come back to the top and talk about this. So my learning target is the same, solving inequalities, compound inequalities, okay? We talked about or. We said it's not peanut butter and jelly anymore. It's peanut butter and jelly or a ham and cheese sandwich. I can have one type of sandwich or the other. And what that means is we keep everything. So I can have this or this. I don't need to have them both at the same time. I can have both. And I could just have both, right? But I would eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, finish it, and then I would start my ham and cheese sandwich. So what this looks like is I can have one, and then I can have the next one. And even though they don't overlap, I can keep it all. So let's highlight it all because I'm going to keep it all, no matter what. One or the other, it's all there. So if I can keep everything, then I have the possibility of everything being my answer. So when I had and, if I never had a spot where they both were there at the same time, I had no solution. But if I have a spot where everything's there, so think of it as like the opposite, complete opposite. If I've got no gap, I have 2 arrows going forever in each direction. I'm going to keep it all because that's what it means when I say or. I have no gap. I have everything. Everything is my answer. And so that is where this symbol comes in. This means all real solutions. I typically call it a double barred R. Because when you write it, we don't write it as fancy as text does, but we double bar the long one there. Okay, so like I said, my steps are the same, but now I'm going to keep everything, not just where it overlaps. I'm going to keep everything. So we're going to graph first, like always. Well, you solve them, right? We solved them. We're going to graph first. And then, so yeah, open or closed. Which way is the arrow going to go? And that's what we're going to do. So x, -4 is greater than x. So open circle on -4. And -4 is greater than x. -4 is bigger than everything. So everything else needs to be less. That's one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is to say it backwards. Okay? That means saying everything backwards. Flip the sign in your brain. X, instead of being a greater than, because it's opening up this way, I'm reading it backwards. X is less than 5. So I would go open circle on 5, and X is less. So less is left. So that's 2 ways to think about it. Ooh, made a straight line. That's cool. 2 ways to think about it. I can think -4 is greater than x, so -4 is bigger than everything. Or I can think backwards. X is less than 5. And I have 2 arrows going the same way. That's great. I had that exact same scenario last time. But this time, it's one or the other. It's not one and the other at the same time. I can keep them both. So I'm going to keep them both. Which means my final is going to look like just this one. Think of it as like a ocean wave. It's going to overtake the other one. So they're both there, but it's like you only see the one. So where we used to keep the shorter, we are going to keep the longer one. And if I'm going to keep the longer one on my graph, then I'm going to keep the longer one in my inequality notation, which is the 5 in this case. So the 5 is my answer. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, remember we solved them already. X, I'm reading it backwards. X is greater than 3. So open circle on 3. X is greater, so right. X is less than 12. Open circle on 12. Less is left. Okay, I've got my arrows going in opposite directions and there is no gap. I'm going to keep everything. This is an OR statement. I know that because it told me. I'm going to keep everything. And so if everything is literally everything, then that is all real solutions. That's my fancy R. Okay. Lastly, same vibe. X is less than -4, so open circle on -4. X is less. X is greater than -2, so open circle on -2, going this way. Cool. I have a gap, and that would scare me, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to keep it all. So my entire final graph is going to be this. -4 this way, -2 this way. Awesome. So if I'm going to keep both, then I have to write both. And that is where the OR button comes in. I am saying this line or this line. And that's fine. Like that feels good on the graph. But we have to say that exact same thing in the inequality notation every time. So I'm going to say, it doesn't matter which one comes first. I'm going to say X is less than -4 or X is greater than -2. And that's how it's done. So I'm going to go to my key really quick, and we're going to talk about all of our scenarios. So I made it really small, I'm sorry. All of our scenarios really quick. So all of our ands. And means you keep the overlap. So whether the arrows are going the same way, whether they're going opposite ways with a gap, or opposite ways with no gap, you only keep where they overlap. Ooh, that rhymed and that was awesome. I didn't mean for that. So they overlap right here. They never overlap in this one. And they overlap right here. So this was my keep the shorter. And we're going to say X is greater than or X is less than something, whichever one the shorter one was, right? If I have no overlap, then I leave it blank. And in my inequality notation, I put the no solution symbol. If I have just a from here to here, I've got 2 endpoints, no arrows, then that's Baymax. And Baymax needs a sandwich. So my answer always looks like this, where I'm saying from one number to the other number, from here to here. Okay, X needs to be in the middle of this number and this number. So now my last 3 are my ORs, and OR means you keep it all. Doesn't matter where it is, because it's everything. So my scenarios are the same. My arrows can be going the same way. There can be a gap, or there can be no gap. But it doesn't matter because I keep all of it. Oop, except not the gap. There's nothing in the gap. Don't keep the gap. Okay, keep everything. So everything's highlighted. There's no cutting anything out. Okay, that means you keep the longer one. and so you're going to keep whichever one's the longer one. This means you keep this or this. So x is less than something or x is greater than something. And this is our all real solutions from one end of the graph to the other. And when you do this, you go from arrow to arrow. Like there should be you shouldn't see any dots, any closed or open circles. It should just be green from here to here. And your inequality notation is the double barred R. Okay, that's how it's done. Email me if you have any questions. Try out your homework. Have a great day.